welcome to Drive Hard. Today we're actually on the road, and we're going to be doing the podcast from the inside of my van, which is known as the Cherryacht. I'm going to be picking up my buddy Brian Baird. He is a truck driver. He has done long hauling and regional hauling for almost 30 years. He's got some great stories to tell, and he's a funny guy, so we're going to have a good time.
Away we go.
Shut the fuck up.
So nice I don't have to drive. So anything fucking unforeseen happens, I'm not responsible. So wonderful. There's I mean, even these dudes in these super ass pickup trucks, I'm just like, are you joking with that shit? There's that one video from that one pilot that happened down in Texas.
Oh, yeah.
And the semi trying to stop. I'm like, it's black ice, it's Texas. You know Texas black ice. It's pretty shitty. And I'm trying to gauge the speed of the truck. I'm guessing he's going 40, 45 miles an hour and tags the back end of one of those big ass, super fucking, pickup trucks. And that fucking thing did a triple fucking... As soon as it hit, and that truck, I don't think had a dent. Wow. And I'm like, I tell people, man, all we have to do is barely graze you, and there's a 50-50 chance you're not going home.
Right. So with that, what can drivers do to stay out of your hair?
Best thing to do, like, you can always tell, like, the old truck drivers, because you won't notice us. Yeah. Because we're not speeding, we're not tailgating you, we're out of your fucking hair. We really don't want any problems. Not so much because we care about you, but because it's going to really fuck our day up. Right. But we also have a regard for human life, It's sort of like, look, we've been out here a long fucking time, man. I mean, I just saw a guy die like last month? Yeah. Some car, it wasn't a truck involvement, but you just see a corpse on the side, throw the sheet over it, you're like, fuck, I don't need to see that. That guy had plans and shit. So, if you're being tailgated by some new dope, don't fucking just sit there. Don't lock your brakes up, because that guy might be so stupid. He thinks he'll bump you and get you out of the way, not realizing if he bumps you, like I said, you've got a 50-50 chance of not going home. Right. He hasn't had his oh shit moment, When a truck driver has an oh shit moment, they stop fucking around. I've had mine, man.
How long you been driving?
Almost 30 years.
That's what I thought.
Almost 30 years. And I still don't know shit. Yeah. Trust me, man. I was just in New York, and I'm sure everybody behind me was pissed because I was going slow, because everywhere else it was like, yeah, it's raining, there's a lot of winds. Not up there, man. That's where all the ski lodges are. That wasn't rain. That was a fuck ton of snow came out of nowhere. Like when I got to the hotel, that's when the alert came on saying, oh, by the way, guess what? You may see 3 to 4 inches of snow in a very short amount of time. Like, you mean 30 minutes? Yeah, that's what I saw. I've never seen so much snow come down in one spot. Well, let's just say in a very long time. Yeah. Since I was like over the road and went to like Colorado or fucking Idaho, a place where the snow doesn't fuck around.
Yeah, you used to do long hauling, didn't you?
Yeah. Then I just got tired of that shit. Yeah. If you start out, that's a great way to start out, because you see the country, But yeah, speaking of, so what people should know about driving our cars, if we're going slow, there's a fucking reason we're going slow. Right.
I always follow you guys. Yeah. I keep an eye on you. I know if you're doing the speed limit, I need to be doing the speed limit.
Yeah, you see a bunch of truck drivers, turn signals come on or brake lights come on. Yeah. Notice that.
And if all the trucks suddenly get into the left-hand lane, I get in the left-hand lane. Because I know there's probably an accident up ahead and they're getting in position.
Or if somebody's on the side of the road, most states have a law saying you've got to move over.
Yeah.
Now, rarely will we get pulled over if they see there was no way for us to go over, but we have to still slow down for that. If we can slow down. Because sometimes it comes out of nowhere. You know?
Yeah.
It used to be you would have your CB on.
Right.
But most people don't use a CB anymore.
That was another thing I was going to ask about, because I was an avid CB user when I went cross country in my Ford Ranger. And in some of my other cars.
Yeah.
But now with the advent of cell phones, are y'all communicating through cell phone or just not?
Well, yeah, I mean, my dispatch will got a hold of me, like my manager and shit. I got like 3 bosses, and any one of them can contact me, right? But truck drivers don't talk to each other hardly ever.
Wow.
And that's why it's changed. Industry's changed a lot. It's like, as far as requirements for driving, safety, how much stuff you have to know. Like before, I think you just had to be half human, you know, and be able to drive. And you're like, all right. I mean, it was a little more involved, but otherwise, they're like, yeah, go ahead. Now it's like, you can't. I mean, what was there? I read somewhere there's like across the United States total. Everywhere there's like 4 million truck drivers. That might have been North America. That might be Canada too. I don't know. And that was like maybe, I don't know. I want to say 2015. I'm guessing. I'm not going to rattle off stat. You know, take it with a grain of salt. And then I read last year there's only 3,500,000.
Oh,
that's a lot of dudes that said, "Fuck it, I'm done," or they're dead.
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing that's increased. There's a lot more of us dying out there, man. Grip that road better. My pickup truck's got, which is funny. People think I lifted it up and put bigger tires on. I'm like, no, that was my mom's truck. She lived in Lake Tahoe. We had to put tire chains on and shit. It's like,
yeah, I put the bigger tires on this thing too.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a little higher, and I just wanted that width.
Yeah.
Especially where I try to take this thing, hitting forest roads out west.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I was on a forest adventure yesterday.
Yeah.
That road I would cut through when I was up in northern Michigan to get from one road to another so I could get back. Literally, my second to last tour and my last tour is I'm on one side of Michigan. I have to literally go straight across to the other side.
Oh, wow. Okay.
There was no straight across this point because the road was closed and there was no way for me to turn around. I'm like, we're on an adventure. All right. I'm not supposed to be on this road. Fortunately, we're in Michigan. You ain't got to worry about a lot of low bridges when you're that far north. I'm sure they're there, but I've been out that part before. I'm just like going, all right, just as long as we don't come into a hairpin turn or we run out of pavement.
Okay,
because that happens a lot in northern Michigan. I've discovered by my horrifically, it's like turning a truck around is a little bit. You wait for a cross street. There's not a lot of traffic. You can very carefully.
Sure.
As long as you can see everywhere around you, which is really hard to do in a truck, and a lot of blind spots. But if you're out there and you see there's nothing, you can very carefully turn around. And most people up there, they see you got the four-ways on, they see you moving. They'll be like, they're gonna say, "What's this dumbass doing?" Or like, "Oh, he's turning around, dumbass." But you didn't kill anybody. You don't give a fuck what anybody else is thinking. You're like, "Dude, I'm getting turned around. Fuck you and everything you love. I'm just trying not to die out here. Is that all right with you?" Motherfucker. But yeah, so what else do people know about truck drivers? You want to tell people, don't do this because it's dangerous and it's going to affect, but some people may watch this and then they're going to be like, no, I'm going to do that so I can piss this guy off.
But they don't know what truck you're in.
Yeah, well, not me personally, but to any truck driver.
Right.
And they're going to be like, I get the point, no, you can be killed so easily. Don't do that. You're not a hero in a video game. You're gonna die.
Yeah.
Or, where you're gonna be in court saying, "I won," with a little voice mic stuck to your throat, and then your chin moves you around, and got the chin wheelchair, because your body's fucking paralyzed and shit. Yeah, you won. Yay! Enjoy the rest of your life. That Toyota of mine, that pickup truck. It says it can go 110.
Yeah.
I got to 80, and I was fairly certain that by the time I got it stopped, I'd be sitting it would look like one of those really old cars where there's no sides or nothing, just a frame, like something out of Mad Max. I'm just like, we're never doing that again. And shit, when you're driving a truck, you're up high.
Feels like that.
Yeah, if you like, I love this guy's fucking things, by the way. Those posters just kill. I mean, he could be a complete asshole. I don't know. But I love him. He just looks fucking amazing. Like he's just living the life. But this, for us, like in a car, you're like, yeah, just be careful of the shoulder if you're too drunk or whatever. You don't want to hit it. You're in a semi, it's almost like you're attacking the Death Star.
Yeah. Yeah, stay on target.
Yeah. It's because you figure if you're in a car, you've got like maybe a few inches. Like look at that one in front of us, like a foot on either side of it. For us, it's like 2 or 3 inches on either side.
See, I've probably got 4 inches on. I probably got 5 or 6 inches on either side.
So if you see us kind of go into your lane a little bit, we're not trying to be dicks. Nope. It's just there's some shit there on the shoulder that you can't see. That we can see, and we're trying not to fling it to the person's, windshield behind us. So you see truck drivers occasionally do something weird. Like, unfortunately, like on the West Coast, not so much, but like you said, from Chicago east, Dean Koontz once wrote, people tend to have a thermonuclear response to any perceived slight. And it's just like, calm the fuck down, man. It's not all about you. Most of the time we see shit you don't see, but again, because truck drivers have so many blind spots.
Come up, Maui.
Sometimes we don't see absolutely everything. So, like we try to move over, and we didn't see you there because you were hidden right behind us. And we get over, and all of a sudden you're like hitting your horn because you're like half on the shoulder. It's like, we didn't know you were there.
Right.
We looked like 3 times, there's nothing there. We move over, and you're like, motherfucker. Give me the finger or something like, all right, wow. Sorry I almost killed you.
So what's the hairiest situation you've ever been in?
Oh, I was in a wreck once.
Yeah.
A bad one. Like, almost killed a guy.
Oh, wow.
I was going south out of Toledo towards Fort Wayne, and I had 2 upright coils, aluminum coils, out of Alco Aluminum. I think I pulled that out of upstate New York. And this truck I had, this is when the Detroit 60s series first came out, 10-speed splitter. Oh my god, I think we drove straight up a fucking mountainside if I had traction. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Loved it. I mean, it's a baby boat. I didn't give a fuck. I was home on the weekends, right? Mostly home on the weekends. And some old man, as you do in Ohio, decides to pull around in front of me and go slow because he's like, most of the attitude people have is, what are you gonna do, hit me? And I'm just, as I'm shrieking, yes, as my truck is coming at you going 45 miles an hour, and I'm like, I can't stop. There's no way I can stop, But Jake brakes going, foot's on the, and I look for my outs. Unfortunately, I didn't have some asshole trying to pass me on a two striped, because some people don't give a fuck, there's no passing. They'll try to go around you anyway. That would have been dead all the way around. Yeah. So, this guy, I go to pass him, and I'm like, I can't hit the horn. Because I have to be ready to, I have both hands on the wheel. I'm just like, fuck, I may have to be really like hit that island.
Right.
He fucking turns. I'm like, you're dead. I can't stop this now from happening. I'm going to try to avoid you, but you're dead. And
that second it happens, there's no out.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because I saw.
Yeah.
I went onto the island, the grass island there, and he kept coming. I'm like, he drove right into my trailer. And I had a pair of California spread axles to let you know how heavy this shit is.
Right.
And they're going right towards his car. And I'm like, I can't look. This is going to be so fucked up. But apparently the wheel hit it and spun his car around. And then I pulled over in front of my truck when I made the initial contact with the pole and the island. Fucked that part of my truck up. I was able to keep going because that pole didn't have a fucking chance in hell stopping that truck. I'm just glad it wasn't my passenger.
Yeah.
Wow. So I pulled over and I immediately pulled it, checked. I'm like, first thing, am I gonna explode? Am I on fire? No. Get out, check that guy. I get out and there's 2 women back there and they're wearing nurses' uniforms. Oh. And I'm like, is he okay? And the old man throws open the door. He's like, that wasn't good at all. What happened?
Oh shit.
I get back on there and I'm like, to my company at the time, I'm typing on the old first satellite computers on this, like, was it an accident? Here's where I am. And they're like, is the other driver okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine too, thanks. Yeah. They're like, well, we figured since you're typing. I'm like, yeah, I figured that's what you were concerned about.
Mm-hmm.
I was being all defensive and I was being a big baby.
Yeah.
So,
it's intense.
They towed my truck out of there. I got put in a hotel. By that, I was sitting at a truck stop where they would let you actually rent rooms that's not there anymore. But their lawyer, the company's lawyer, this is how big this motherfucker was, this company. He knocked on the door like an hour later and wanted my side of the story. And then he's like, don't go anywhere. I'll be back in about an hour. And about an hour later, he came back. He's like, yeah, don't worry about it. They cited him.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, what happened? He goes, he forgot to take his meds. That was his grandson's brand new Grand Marquis.
Whoops.
Yeah, well, dude, the first thing I saw is like how expensive this car was. And I'm like going, aside from the human life that's in peril, which is primary in my head, because I'm really ready to drive into a ditch, but I couldn't because the ditch was, not next to me. It was on the other side of that guy.
Right.
I'm like, all I had to do was just stop. And yeah, I would have been dinged up, but I don't give a fuck. As long as I don't kill this guy, Yeah, he forgot to take his medication, and the guy recorded it. And so for me, that was the end of it.
Yeah.
It's like, fucking hell. Now, the one about, I was in the Bronx, I had to deliver, and I was late because I ran into a car. I'm going over the GW because we merged into each other.
Oh.
And I love New York for the fact they have a no-fault law.
Okay.
For certain things. I don't know about now, but usually truck drivers, if anything happens, it's our fault. And if you think that's not true, look at like Facebook pages where truck drivers look at, like there's one called Twisted Truckers, which I recommend. Mm-hmm. Anytime they show an accident, it's always our fault because we all look at it, we go, you could have done this, this, and this, even though we know full well we don't see what the hell's going on.
Right.
Who knows what this guy was being distracted by, but he looked to the right because he saw some school child in trouble and didn't see the car stop fucking in front of him,
Yeah.
Who fucking knows? So anyway, I was late, and I contacted the guy. I was supposed to deliver a rolled roofing, big, this is flatbed, or side kit, whatever, into the Bronx. And, you hear about the Bronx. I mean, fuck, who hasn't seen The Warriors or whatever, I mean, I don't think it took place in the Bronx, but, the guy was pissed. Understandable. There was a certain time we had to be there because he had a schedule because you had to use a machine to take it off. He's like, fuck, you're just down here now? And he's like, where are you? And I told him I just pulled off somewhere and called him. He's like, when you get down the Bronx, pull over and call me when you get there. So I'm like thinking, he thinks I'm just gonna be like, oh no. I'm like, all right. Got off the freeway, saw a gas station, stopped the truck right on the fucking road, got out, walked over, called him. He's like, where are you? So by this gas station, he goes, dude, wait, did you stop on the road? I'm like, yeah. He goes, you're fucking stupid. He's laughing his fucking head off. You can hear him laugh. He goes, that's great. Here, just make a left, make a right. You'll be right there. Asshole, get over here. He came over later. He was still pissed about me being late. He goes, that was great, man. I can't even fucking stop right in the middle of the goddamn road. I'm like, what are they going to do? Walk off with the truck? Right? Well, I got out and, the Great White Father exits the vehicle, okay. And there's this couple coming towards me, and I'm like, not for nothing, is that school that's over there? And the woman's like, let me see the paperwork, and I showed it to her, and she's like, yeah, here you go. I'm like, thank you. And it was very polite, very civil, very friendly. Mm-hmm. I'm like, of course it's daytime, Unbelievable that they just stop here. That's what people they used to do that. Now it's, It's East Coast. You had to know East Coast humor because I went from driving, like you said before, I was OTR for about a year and a half, and that was Northeast Regional for a year and a half, and then I had a new dispatcher. I'm like, fuck you, and I, drive for these other guys since they invented the wheel, but they if you didn't understand East Coast humor, there were some guys they didn't get it. Like I had a guy from Rhode Island, this crazy Italian dude. He went by Wild Man on the CB. I went by Suicidal. Okay. They loved that shit. I'm like, well, you see me drive, you know why. I'm kind of a wants dumbass. A Pepsi. Jesus Christ. So
keep talking.
He had some crazy shit always going on. He was fun to party with. Like what was it, after Memorial Day? We both had to deliver someplace outside Boston, and the two of us were fucking hungover like you wouldn't believe. And he's like, man, you came a lot farther. I'm like, yeah. He goes, that's a long drive for a hangover, man. Oh. Fucking hell. But when I first ran into him, I just started, I'm like, dude, there's a lot of dudes like giving me attitude. He goes, no, that's East Coast humor, man. He goes, it's not personal. Well, okay, it's a little personal, but he goes, if you don't take it on the chin, they're just going to fuck with you. He's like, just laugh it off. And I'm like, oh, okay, I get it now. And then after that, I love going to East Coast, because they're all bastards. I just nice. You just learn like, okay, it's cool. Especially Philly, evil Philly guys. You know, they don't give a rat's ass over there. I kind of like that. You know, I mean, not all the time. I person wouldn't, but.
I'm gonna add another piece of tape here.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then we're gonna head to the Metro Parks.
Cool. But yeah, as far as like hairy situations, I just had one. Like I said, Monday I was up there and all that snow and ice in my truck. It's an automatic now, which I fucking hate. And normally when you're on slippery conditions, you can lug the motor, you know, which is basically you're in a much higher gear than you would normally be in on regular roads. So it's like, but that's if you hit something like a patch of ice, it goes, by then you've caught up. It gives you a chance.
Yeah.
You can't do that with automatic. With automatic, it's like you either barely touch the pedal and you don't move at all, or you touch a little too much and you're going warp 5.
Yeah.
You know, especially backing up, it'll do that. That's why most of the trailers I think we have now are all, you know, for the guys that aren't really used to that shit, just beating the fuck out of them, man. Our lift gates are garbage to begin with.
Yeah.
Now they're holy shit. Yeah, so I was trying to climb up this hill and all of a sudden my truck starts doing this shit and I'm just like, I'm too fucking old for this bullshit, man. Come on. And I'm thinking, I got 20 more miles of this before I actually get out of them thar hills. They have those windmills all over out there. You couldn't see any of them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and some of them are close. I'm like, wow, this is bullshit. And I got traffic lined up behind me, so I managed to get it over, hit my four-ways, get it over. There's cars that look like, you know, box kite weight, you know, flying past me. And I'm like, that motherfucker. I got a goddamn trailer with a lift gate and a reefer unit, which at least that does add weight to you, and I'm still spinning my fucking tires here. What the? Finally got over it. I'm like, okay, we're gonna go really fucking slow, and I'm not getting home or anywhere near home tonight. I'm going to be outside Buffalo sleeping tonight. Fuck.
Yikes.
I don't want to do it because the next morning you wake up, you're like, okay, I got a 3+ hour drive back home. Where normally I sleep in Pontiac, you know, and that's like an hour plus, and I'm back home, you know.
Yeah.
Just at least to the warehouse, I could drop shit off and then go back home. And then they're always like, you work Tuesday? I'm like, nah, I won't get back until Tuesday morning. Like, oh yeah, shit. I'm like, yeah. Did you leave Sunday? I'm like, no. Did you fix my truck? No? Well, it's too bad then, huh? Yeah, I was going south out of Flint. This is ages ago. And I still wonder to myself sometimes, like, dude, how in the fuck do you used to drive like such a psychopath? I think to myself, because I'm a little, you know, you get older, you get a little bit more, a little more touchy about doing shit. But I'm like, no, I think I was still kind of careful. It's just you, when you were done driving, you would go out and party, and now you don't do that shit anymore.
Right.
But it was like an F1. It's the first time I actually saw clearly a tornado, and it was going across US 23. And at first, I'm just looking because I'm watching traffic. It's rain, winds blowing hell all over the place, and I'm like, I know it's slow, everybody, but why the fuck are we stopping? Just crawl, for God's sake. And then I see these trees, maybe about a half mile, a little bit further in front of me, and they were just going wild. And I'm like, did somebody? First thought, I'm like, because you couldn't see great, you know. I'm like, did somebody hit it? And then I do this number. I start going forward and looking, you know. I'm like, oh, fuck me, man. And I was empty, you know. So there's nothing holding me down. It's like a box kite. I'm like, oh, fuck. And it just hopped. It hopped. One car kind of went, and moved a little bit. Yeah. One person actually got out and jumped in the ditch. I'm like, you're going to fucking drown, man. That ditch isn't deep enough. So, I mean, I don't blame them. They teach you that shit in school, but whatever. So I watched this thing hop over, and it was like a golf course, which is long gone now. But I was over there, and then it started to fuck it up. And oh boy, could everybody drive fast then? Yeah. As soon as it was past the freeway, it was like Back to the Future, man. It was like, whoa, they were the fuck out of there. And meanwhile, I went from like first gear, and I think I tried jamming it into fifth, and that wasn't gonna fucking work. So I went 1, 3, 5, skip shifting. Like, get me the fuck out of here.
Yikes.
And I run into people and they're like, man, I'd like to see a tornado. And I'm like, no. That thing's touching the sky and it's pissed off. Yeah. At least it looks pissed off because it's destroying fucking everything around, man. Those clouds are going,
finger of God.
Honestly, well, I mean, it was an F1, but an F1 will fuck you up, man. You know. Screw that shit. Yeah, anything more than an F1 is like, dude, I'm not driving.
I've never seen a tornado driving, but I've been in the area of one that has passed by close. And you saw the wind in the distance and shit being just chaotic, and then you come up on the scene.
Yeah.
And
I've done that.
I don't want to see it.
I came up on one that just passed over I-7. No, it was a US 23 again. Fuck that whole area. This was like right over the border too. Like for anybody who knows Michigan, it'd be US 23 north-ish, right around I would say the 17, the exit around there. I might have it wrong. This is years ago too. And you could still see all the shit that got dragged. For some reason, the freeway is fine. You know? I'm just like, wow, all right. Everybody kept going though. I'm like, and that's when I see, did I miss? I'm like, yeah, motherfucker, a tornado just went right through here. It was an F3. I'm like, I didn't see it at all. But then again, I thought, yeah, well, I probably wouldn't have because I wasn't there when it happened. Thank God, I didn't want to see that bullshit. I started crying.
The worst weather event that I got stuck in was driving from from Canton, back to Colorado. And I was in Nebraska.
Oh, God.
And, and whiteout conditions. And a truck driver is in front of me.
Yeah.
And one is in back.
Yeah.
And one is trying to pass.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, I can't see anything beyond my windshield or my glass.
Yeah.
The only reason why I know I'm on the road is because I got the ripple.
Yeah, the
ripple strip or rumble strip.
Rumble strip, yeah.
And I can hear the rumble strip, so I know I'm on where I need to be in my lane. But I'm just thinking, fuck! You in front, don't hit the brakes.
Yeah.
You in back, don't hit the gas.
No, we typically won't hit our brakes. If a driver sees that he's on shitty conditions, the last goddamn thing, if he has any springs, don't touch your brakes. Take your foot off the accelerator and let it slow down naturally. But most vehicles they make today, they don't slow down.
Right.
Even semis.
They just keep propelling.
Yeah, because it's better on fuel, I guess. And I'm like, fuck that noise.
Yep. Well, I was driving with the force for at least 30 seconds. Yeah, stay on target.
Yeah, it's the force. Yeah, no shit.
And suddenly it opened up, and there was an exit, and I took it, and I went to the hotel that was right there and stayed. And and a mile and a half up the road was a huge collision because of that whiteout condition. And they were still digging people out the next morning.
That's another thing. Speaking of truck driving, lots of signs are truck driver height.
Okay.
So if you see us moving forward, like past where we're supposed to be, it's because we can't fucking see anything, man.
Gotcha.
It's like, I know, I appreciate you put the sign there talking about a place I can't actually go to and eat dinner. Or why would I want to fucking drive into that cul-de-sac with a fucking 48-foot trailer? I have no idea. I have done that and turned it around, by the way.
Wow.
Because
80 points of turning?
Let me tell you, the first thing you discover about modern technology is you never, ever trust your GPS.
Yeah.
You look at everything you can before you go anywhere.
Episode 4 is going to be the map show, and we're going to go over... we're gonna talk about maps versus GPS.
I had to pick up some freight in Medina once, and I went into this cul-de-sac, and boy, the fucking people there were giving me some wild ass looks, and it told me to get out of my truck and walk, and I'm like, okay, that's not what your job is. I turned around, and some guy was standing on his front porch, kind of looking at me like, what the fuck? And I just pointed at the GPS and shrugged, and he starts laughing. He's just like, I could read his expression, like, why the fuck would you trust that thing? And I'm like, I'm tired. I don't want to work today anyway.
Well, and out west, you can end up on a Jeep road in a national forest.
Oh, we see that
real quick.
We see that on all the trucking sites all the time. About dudes that are just like out there in them dar hills, and they decide to trust the dirt. I'm like, why would you?
Yeah.
You never.
And the GPS said this would be the quickest way.
Honestly, they do have trucking GPSs too. They're expensive as fuck, but they'll tell you this is the smartest way. They'll tell you low bridge ahead, which if you're out west, I know they have them, but
for sure
nowhere near like we do out here, man. We've got them. We had a guy actually smash into a bridge about a year or so ago because his GPS told him to go that way, and they said, why are you going so fast? He goes, no, I slowed down. I slowed down for it. Like, it was a 13.2 bridge. We're 13.6. He got it stopped enough to only take out part of the trail. So immediately, of course, I went on YouTube because I wanted to break their balls. You know, like, let's see if we can find it on the news. This is going to be glorious, you know. And they're sitting there hating me because it's me. Childish fucking games I play.
Okay, so you're on the road.
Yeah.
Long haul.
Oh yeah.
you're listening to a lot of audiobooks.
Oh, fuck yeah, man.
How did you get into audiobooks?
Well, back in the day, of course, before the advent of modern technology like the cell phone, we had a thing called cassette tapes. And believe it or not, a lot of semis back then had cassette tape players that might work.
Okay.
So there was a rental program that they had in truck stops where you could rent it and you'd have it for a certain amount of time and then you had to turn it back in.
Okay.
And I still have some I never turn back in. Because how are they going to collect, how are they going to bill you?
Right.
You know? And I would always have to go back and restart it up because I would just go through time where I listened to them and then I would listen to the same ones after, you know, I would go like a month or two, like, well, I'll just listen to it again and just kind of pass the time because I hate talk radio.
Yeah.
You know, until I discovered Howard Stern. You know, God bless that guy. Because first time I went out east and I heard him fucking on his shenanigans going, I'm like, who's this guy? This is fucking brilliant, you know? Holy shit, I love this. But, so the first, I even remember, and it was really weird because they made this into a movie not long ago. A Walk Among the Tombstones.
Okay.
And I really got into, I actually read that whole series, because there's a whole ton of books about that detective who used to be a cop, used to be an alcoholic, then he got his shit straight, and brilliantly written.
Okay.
The guy who wrote that has written a bunch of, I can't think of his name, of course I'm dumb, but Lawrence Block, that's it. Okay. He's written a lot of stuff. But that was the first one I'm like, fuck, this is, you know, what was it, like a 3-hour thing, so you figure, that's about 180 miles, just got burned away, and I didn't even notice anything except the traffic around. But yeah, so I got into audiobooks in a significant portion of my paycheck was actually going to renting.
Wow.
Like stacks.
Okay.
Because there are some places where you wouldn't get reception at all, you know, and you can only listen to your own mixtapes back in the day so much.
Right.
And now, of course, you can just download them.
Yeah.
Once you got YouTube, you can actually just listen to people read.
Podcasts.
Yeah, podcasts if you want to listen to, you know, somebody bitch about some other podcaster. Podcast feuds bore the fuck out of me. As soon as you start, they said this about me, so we're gonna. I'm like, yeah, we're not. We're just gonna shut this off.
I watch all the comedians.
Oh yeah.
Tom Segura.
Yeah.
Bert Kreischer.
Yeah.
All Joe those Rogan. Guys. Joe Rogan for sure.
Oh yeah, I love listening to that.
Theo Vaughn.
Yeah, Theo.
Theo fucking kills me.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that guy's got a mind.
I'm kind of sad he got straight, you know, or was it
sober?
Yeah, was the Korean guy?
On Tiger Belly.
Yeah.
Bobby Lee.
That's it. Yeah. I was thinking Lee Ving.
Oh.
I'm like, no. Good wrong guy, but wrong guy.
Yep.
Oh my God, because I saw him on that one where they used to be at the strip bar and they would talk about shit that happened in their lives. It wouldn't necessarily have to be funny, but typically it was. Like Henry Rollins was on it the one time, and Henry Rollins is a surprisingly funny guy.
Oh yeah.
And he talked about the first time he did drugs.
Nice.
I was fucking dying over that
nice.
one. But yeah, so you can, you know, whatever you listen to, like you begin to learn like the different narrators.
Yeah.
So here's a funny story. I had no interest in Harry Potter when it first came out. I'm like, it's a kid's. I understood it to be a kid's story, and I didn't know if it, you know, anything about it that it was really popular. And I was like, I wasn't against it. I wasn't one of those fucking assholes. I'm just like, more power to you.
Yeah, not my thing.
I just don't know if it's something I would like. And my union steward at the time said, you need to listen to this. A, the books are longer than shit, and B, the narrator is insanely good, and the stories are really, really good. And I'm like, are you feeling okay? Because I know you got kids. He's like, don't be an asshole. Just give it a shot. So I went, and I listened to it, and I was hooked immediately.
Yeah.
I was like, holy fuck. Because the guy that does, there's two different people. The one that does the British version, and the guy that does the American version. And the guy who does the American version is way better than I can't remember the guy who does the British version. He's like a famous guy over there too. He's got his own. He was doing QI for a while until he gave it up for the Danish chick. No, she's a well-known lesbian and he's a well-known gay guy.
Oh.
And if they didn't tell you, I mean, they're not flamboyant. They're pretty. Yeah. But they you know, they have panel shows. Like I'm really big into British panel TV shows because I find them really, really entertaining. they'll, it's England, they don't give a fuck if you're gay or not.
Right.
We're getting there here in the States.
Yeah.
We're finally maturing and not giving a fuck if you're gay or whatever. Just as, we don't want you to fuck in front of us because I don't want anybody fucking in front of me.
Right.
Because I don't have to smell that shit.
Yeah.
Because a nose like mine,
shit.
it's like, no, horrific. When I was younger, it might have been very different. I was a little bit weirder back then, but I was like, no, nobody fucking around me, please. But yeah, so the guy from the American one, I can't remember his name. He literally sounded like different people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, every character's voice had a different voice.
Nice.
So, and those books are not small.
No, and there's a lot of people in them.
Wow, So, I started listening to that, and I actually got really excited when, like, a new book was coming out, and, I step outside myself, I'm like, what are you doing, man? Come on. So, but you would talk about those books to people that you would deliver freight to, and, you'd be out in, like, BFE, Ohio, country boy town, these roughnecks come out and load your truck, and they'd be like giddy schoolgirls when fucking, you mention Harry Potter, like, oh, yeah, the new book's coming out, you're just like going, fucking hell, man. Who are we?
Yeah.
But yes, I am excited. I can't wait, Dude, this is where hookers go to die, man. Fuck.
Speaking of hookers.
Okay. So
lot lizards, give it to me.
I've had one in my cab.
What?
It was freezing cold out, and I felt really bad for it. Plus, I was waiting for my dispatcher. I informed her, look, I'm married, no. And I'm like, but you can hop in and catch, plus I wanted to, me, Mr. Experience everything. I wanted to talk to her.
Sure.
And the one thing they will not discuss with you is prices unless you're going to do it. And
okay.
I'm like, all right. I mean, plus, she was, I wouldn't say horrific, but no. Not a fucking chance. Compared to what I was married to, no. I'd rather jack off, thanks, but no thanks. But people, I guess they still exist, but I don't see them anymore.
Okay.
Because the truck stops now will be shut down. If we see that, there's prostitutes. And plus, a lot of us drivers are looking like, how old are you? If you're underage, we got a phone number we fucking dial, man. We're just like, get your ass fucking saved by the fucking cop. And the cops like that.
Yeah.
And the truck stops are like, look, man, if you guys get busted, we get busted. That's the same with the drug dealers.
Okay.
There's jobs. So when like prostitutes or drug dealers or whatever knock on a truck driver's door, they probably know in their head that if they have the wrong guy, that because there are some truck drivers, we're not allowed to carry firearms.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Well, that's the people I work for.
Yeah.
Some guys, they'll do it anyway. Not anybody I know that works for us. I don't think anybody.
Hey! Woo. Hey! Oh, you fucking idiots.
Yeah, we don't worry about them too much in the semis. We're like, if you hit me, I mean, I'm not the one that dies.
Right?
But again, you're fucking my day up, so you take your own life. Don't take everybody else's.
Well, slow to go. Catch up, boys. Here comes another one. That's the kind of shit I like to catch on my dash cam.
Yeah.
Here comes another one.
Rock and roll.
There must have been a club.
Yeah. At the Audi.
Wow.
Yeah, they hit the shoulder. Hey, in my car, because sometimes you have a shield wall, they will like line up and they're like, we're not gonna let anybody pass. And then I'll like come up on one of those roads where it's like if you, like it's like it's gonna be like exit only, so there's a thing, and you'll always see me just go right around everybody, and I'm like, it's not personal.
No.
I'm like, I'm just not here to play your stupid reindeer game.
Yeah,
I gotta
exactly.
go.
I got places to be.
And I'm not gonna cut anybody off. I never tailgate, and I never cut anybody off. Not to say I've never had to cut people off, because I don't intentionally cut people off. But yeah, like I was saying, if anybody knocks on a truck driver's door, even if we don't have a gun, I mean, I always carry. I've got like what they call a trucker survival tool, which I use for the reason I got it. Pull nails out of stuff. There's a slight axe blade. It's not an axe, but it looks kind of like an axe. I use it to like smash ice off the trail so it doesn't kill anybody if it breaks off. Also, you got a stalactite sticking to the driver behind you. That's not going to win you any fucking friends.
No.
People get pissed off at us enough. when they see us driving, they see snow coming off the trailer.
Yeah.
And people bitch me about it. I'm like, why the fuck are you driving so close? And they're like, dude, you took up the whole fucking freeway. And I'm like, I'm not responsible for that guy. You know?
It's music time. Aside from audiobooks,
yeah.
Are you still listening to a lot of tunes on the road?
Yeah. The first thing I had to do after quite a few years, you know, like a lot of metal, thrash metal, like hardcore punk and stuff. And I still like it, but I don't really listen to it anymore.
Yeah.
Because the last thing you want to be is angry when you're driving.
Sure.
Or just like foaming at the mouth. You can't really enjoy Slayer when you're governed to go 64 miles an hour.
Exactly.
You're like, I feel like an asshole.
Not enough beats per second.
Yeah, so I listen to a lot of old school punk, like the early stuff, or stuff that at least kind of sounds that way. Yeah. I actually started listening to a lot of old 80s post-punk, stuff like that.
Okay.
But I'll listen to like Jerry Reed.
Yeah.
You know, because that's a fun guy. This guy next to us is texting as he's driving, or he's videotaping everything.
Right.
Not judging, just noticing and moving on. Yeah.
Observing.
Yeah. But I also noticed that I'm very seasonal with what music. Like now we're going into spring, so a lot more funk is going to go into my music mix because you got to have Earth, Wind, and Fire, which is more R&B, but you know there's a lot of good funk there, or a Gap Band and stuff, because it applies.
Yeah.
You know, but I do notice when it gets back towards autumn, I like doom metal, goth music, stuff in between there.
Sure.
I'm all over the place musically. As long as it's sort of upbeat and makes me feel like you're not a piece of shit.
Yeah.
You're going to make it to the end of the day. Life's worth living. I know you're getting old. Don't let it bother you.
Right?
Because that's the one thing I have noticed that's changed. Is getting old doesn't mean shit anymore.
Right.
It used to be like, okay, here's your plaid pants. Mm-hmm. Here's your white wig. Nope. Here's that smell that comes with all that. Yeah, now it's
anything.
You know, nobody fucking cares because all the old people, the boomers are like, dude, I'm not fucking doing that shit. Mm-hmm. The younger boomers that are close to us,
you
know, the cool ones that I like. I mean, I have nothing against the older ones; they're doing their own thing. Fuck it. But the ones closer to our age is sort of like, okay, we're not growing up.
Yeah.
Why should we? And we're like, you're right. Mm-hmm. That's something we can, you know. I know typically we're supposed to say whatever, but I mean.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna split.
All right, thank you.
Hey,
thanks for your time too. I appreciate it.
Anytime, no problems.
You going up Maui? Up.
See ya.
See ya. Hey, thanks for watching. Next week is the map show. We're going to go over the quintessential points of using a paper map versus a GPS. Gonna keep your ass off those Jeep roads. See ya. I would want to turn that into a scooter rental in the mountains. Now I'm driving hard back to Canton, which is something you don't normally talk about. You don't drive hard to Canton, you drive hard away from Canton. Screw you guys, I'm going home.